My lazy coworker spent the entire day gossiping, dumping her work on me, saying, "You do it faster anyway." When I refused, she complained to our manager that I was uncooperative. The next morning, her jaw dropped as the manager read out her work hours, pulled straight from security footage of her chatting in the break room. I'm a 42-year-old administrative assistant at a logistics company in Columbus, Ohio. I've been with this company for over a decade, and I take pride in my work. I'm efficient, reliable, and I don't engage in office drama. About a year ago, a new coworker joined our department. Let's call her Tina. From the start, Tina made it clear that she wasn't interested in doing more than the bare minimum. She'd spend hours chatting in the break room, scrolling through her phone, and somehow always managed to offload her tasks onto others, mostly me. Her favorite line? "You do it faster anyway." At first, I didn't mind helping out. But it quickly became apparent that Tina was taking advantage of my work ethic. She'd dump her assignments on me and then disappear for extended coffee breaks. I started keeping a mental tally of how much of her work I was doing. Spoiler, it was a lot. The breaking point one Monday morning, I decided enough was enough. Tina had left a stack of invoices on my desk with a sticky note. "Can you handle these? You're so much better at it." I left them untouched. By 3 p.m., Tina stormed over, visibly annoyed. "Why haven't you processed those invoices?" I looked her straight in the eye. "Because they're your responsibility." She huffed and walked away. The next morning, I was called into our manager's office. "There's been a complaint," he said. "Tina says you've been uncooperative and creating a hostile work environment." I was floored. I explained the situation, but he seemed skeptical. "I'll need to look into this," he said. I knew I had to gather evidence. Our office had recently installed security cameras in common areas, including the break room. I requested access to the footage from the past week. What I found was gold. There was Tina, spending hours each day in the break room, chatting and scrolling through her phone. Meanwhile, timestamps showed me at my desk, working diligently. I compiled the footage and presented it to our manager. The next morning, we had a meeting with HR. Tina was there, looking smug. Our manager began, "Tina, we've reviewed the security footage." Her smile faltered. "It shows that you've been spending a significant amount of time away from your desk, while your tasks were being handled by others." Tina tried to argue, but the evidence was irrefutable. Tina was placed on a performance improvement plan. She was required to log her tasks and report her activities daily. The break room became a no-go zone for her extended chats. As for me, I received a formal apology from management and a commendation for my professionalism. Lessons learned: document everything. Keep records of your work and interactions. Stand up for yourself. Don't let others take advantage of your work ethic. Use available resources. Security footage can be a powerful tool. I thought that would be the end of it. Tina had been exposed. The truth was out. I figured she'd learn her lesson, keep her head down, and do her job. I was wrong. The very next week, something weird started happening. Files I had finished were getting misplaced. Things on my desk would be rearranged. Sticky notes I wrote to myself would go missing. At first, I thought I was just being forgetful. But after the third invoice packet vanished from my folder overnight, I started getting suspicious. Then came the emails. I got an email from our department head asking why a client report hadn't been submitted. A report I definitely submitted. I checked the server. My copy was gone. Deleted. The backup I saved on my USB? Also wiped. I don't know how she did it, but she had access to someone's computer, maybe even mine, when I stepped out for lunch. This went on for about 2 weeks. Small, petty things, but enough to cause headaches and raise doubts about my reliability. People started whispering. Tina was back to her smiling self, pretending to be supportive. "Oh no, again? You're so good at your job. This is unlike you." She played innocent. Sweet. Like butter wouldn't melt in her mouth. I documented everything. Every time something went missing, I made a note of it. I started locking my drawer. I started logging my computer access. I even began taking pictures of my desk before and after work. And then, one Friday afternoon, I got called into the manager's office again. Tina says she saw you yelling at her in the hallway. I just stared at him. Did you? No. I've barely spoken to her. She says you called her names and slammed the supply room door in her face. I laughed. I couldn't help it. Check the cameras again. That was my go-to now. I didn't trust anyone's word, especially hers. He said they would. But the look in his eyes, he wasn't convinced. And that shook me a little. That night, I drove home fuming. She wasn't done with me. I realized this wasn't just about her being lazy anymore. She wanted me gone. Maybe I had embarrassed her too badly in that HR meeting. Maybe she was just mean. Or maybe she was the kind of person who couldn't stand not getting her way. But I wasn't going down like this. So I did something risky. That weekend, I installed a small, private motion-triggered camera near my desk. It looked like a regular pen in my pencil cup. HR wouldn't approve, I knew that. But at this point, I felt like I had no choice. If they wouldn't protect me, I'd have to protect myself. Monday morning, I came in early. I checked everything. My folders, USB drive, even my water bottle placement. I left for lunch at noon. When I got back, bingo. One folder was missing. A small one, marked with a yellow post-it that said payroll summaries. I went home that night and checked the footage. At 12:27 p.m., Tina walked up to my desk, looked around, reached into the folder stack, took one file, shoved it into her handbag, and walked away like nothing happened. I watched the clip 10 times just to be sure. The next day, I printed out stills. I brought the footage in on a private laptop. I waited until lunch. Then I walked straight into HR. And I dropped the bomb. Now the real fun was about to start. The HR rep, Mike, looked at the screen in silence. He leaned forward, clicked through the clip frame by frame, and then sat back with a long exhale. She took it, he said flatly. I nodded. She's been saying it was you, that you were sabotaging her. She's been deleting my files, moving stuff off my desk, lying to management. She wants me fired, I said. Mike rubbed his temples. This is serious. You're not supposed to have a private camera on company property, but I know I cut in. I'll take the heat for that. But I wasn't going to sit here and let her keep ruining my name. He nodded slowly. I'll take this upstairs. Don't mention anything to her. I walked back to my desk feeling like something was finally going to happen. But a little voice in my head told me not to relax just yet. I kept my camera running anyway. 2 days passed. Tina acted completely normal, but she was watching me more closely than before. I knew she felt something brewing. Then Wednesday morning hit. Mike asked to see me again, but this time, the director of operations was there too. They didn't waste time. We confronted Tina about the footage, the director said. She denied it at first. Then she said she was retrieving a document you asked her to grab. But the timestamps don't match any messages, and your email doesn't show any request. I didn't respond. I could tell there was more. She also accused you of setting her up, Mike added. She said you've been trying to frame her ever since that first HR meeting. I just laughed. That's rich. Then came the twist I didn't expect. We reviewed more footage from other cameras after that, the director continued. And we found something else. My stomach dropped. Tina was seen copying documents from your private folders onto a USB drive. One of them contained client payment information and internal memos, none of which she has clearance to access. I blinked. She? What? She may have broken data policy. Possibly even state law, depending on what she intended to do with it. Suddenly, it wasn't just office drama anymore. This was bigger. Way bigger. They didn't say much more, but I was told not to talk to Tina and to keep all details confidential. They thanked me for the footage and said they'd be escalating it. That night, I barely slept. The next morning, Tina didn't show up to work. By 10 a.m., people started whispering. Someone had seen two men in suits, IT security and a legal rep, walking through the second floor. Tina's computer was taken from her desk. By noon, we all knew she'd been suspended pending investigation. But here's where it gets even stranger. The following Monday, I got a call. Not from work, from a number I didn't recognize. I picked up, and a woman's voice said, "You think you're safe?" Then silence. Then the line went dead. I sat there frozen. It couldn't be Tina. Could it? I told Mike about the call. He said they'd look into it. Tina's account access has been disabled, her work badge revoked. She shouldn't have your number. Shouldn't. But somehow she did. That same week, I noticed a car parked across the street from my apartment for 3 nights in a row. Same make, same color, same dent in the bumper. The driver never got out. I started taking different routes home. I stopped checking into places on social media. I even changed the passwords on my phone, email, everything. The office got quieter after that. People acted like nothing had happened. No one mentioned Tina. Management didn't say anything publicly. But I could feel the tension. I could feel the fear. It wasn't over. Not for me. A week passed, then 2. No updates from HR. No word about Tina. I kept doing my job like nothing had happened, but the truth is I was on edge all the time. Watching every car that passed my place. Glancing over my shoulder at work. I didn't know what she was capable of anymore. Then one Friday afternoon, right as I was shutting down my computer, I got an email from our legal department. The subject line, confidential, internal findings and action. I opened it. The words hit me one at a time. Tina has been officially terminated following evidence of policy violations, data breach risks, and misconduct. The matter has been referred to local authorities for further investigation. I read it 3 times. They were pressing charges. I felt a weird mix of relief and dread. Relief that she was finally out. Dread because this wasn't just a work problem anymore. It was a criminal matter. But that wasn't the end. The next week, police actually showed up at the office. Not just quietly either. 2 uniformed officers and a detective came in and asked to speak to me. Right in front of everyone. My coworkers froze in place as they led me into a private room. "We're conducting a formal interview about an alleged threat made to you by phone," one of them said. I nodded and gave them everything. The call, the weird car, everything I'd noticed. Then one of the cops said, "Did you know Tina filed a report against you too?" My stomach flipped. What? She says you harassed her outside of work. That you followed her home one night. That you threatened her after she was fired. I was stunned. That's a lie. I've done nothing like that. Do you have any proof of your whereabouts during that time? Luckily, I did. I'd gotten so paranoid, I'd started using a time tracking app on my phone to record where I was and when. I handed over the screenshots, the camera logs from my apartment, even a grocery receipt from the night she claimed I was outside her house. They nodded and said they'd look into it. I sat in that chair for 20 minutes after they left, just staring at the wall. She really was trying to take me down, all the way to the end. 2 days later, the police called again. They found footage from a nearby store that confirmed I was nowhere near Tina's place on the night she claimed. Her report was officially labeled false. They added it to her record. I thought that would be the final nail in her coffin. But the twist? It wasn't her who called me. It was her sister. They traced the phone number. Her younger sister had made the call. And in the investigation, it came out that Tina had asked her to do it as a favor. Her sister confessed, said Tina told her I was bullying her, destroying her life. She didn't know she was helping commit harassment. They didn't charge the sister, but Tina? They added it to her growing list of offenses. She was already being sued by the company. Now she was also under criminal investigation for false reporting and conspiracy. And still, it wasn't over. A month later, I was called into the boardroom. All the department heads were there. My boss. HR. Legal. The director of operations. Sit down, they said. I thought I was getting an award or something. Nope. We have to address one more thing, Mike said. The camera you installed. I froze. You violated company policy. We understand the reasoning behind it, but we have to issue a formal written warning. Just like that. No thank you, no, you saved us from a lawsuit. Just a warning letter in my file. I signed the form, took the paper, walked out with my head high. But inside, I was furious. All I'd done was defend myself, protect my name, stop a train wreck before it got worse. And for that, I got punished. Even a little. That night, I sat at home, thinking about Tina. About how she'd spun her lies like a spider's web, waiting for me to walk into it. She lost everything. Her job, her reputation, a possible criminal record. And me? I lost peace. I wasn't the same after that. The trust one had in my workplace? Gone. The way I smiled at coworkers? Gone too. I did my job. I went home. I stayed in my lane. But you know what? If I had to do it again, I would. I'd rather stand alone with my dignity than be part of a quiet team too scared to speak up. Tina wanted revenge. But all she got was exposed. Stripped of every lie. Every game. And me? I walked through the fire. Burned a little, sure. But I walked out. Still standing.